Adversity makes some men quit, yet others rise to fame. When adversity sets in and the road becomes difficult, how are you going to respond? Keep fighting. Don't give up. The first time you quit will be the hardest. Over time, I became increasingly frustrated at Kansas State. Many of my professional friends were at big-time schools, making big-time money, going to big-time ball games, and I was stuck at Kansas State. And I would call my mentor up, Coach Stuckey, and I'd vent my frustration to him. And Coach would tell me, Jerry, be the best you can be where God has you, and in His time, He will reward you. And then he told me about a time when he failed to live up to that advice. He was the head strength coach at North Carolina State, and he was working out of a small, outdated weight room. And he went to his athletic director and said, "Sir, I believe it's time that we upgraded our facility to a newer, larger weight room." And the AD looked at him and said, "John, you don't take care of this small, outdated weight room. Why should I trust you with a larger, newer one?" And then he re-emphasized, be the best you can be where God has you. The motivational speaker, Dr. Kevin Elko, he puts it this way: be where your feet are. Hey, wherever you're at, be great. When you're at work, be great at your job, regardless of your situation or how meaningless the task may be. When you're in a meeting, focus on that meeting. Be attentive. Be productive. The same principles can be applied to your personal life as well. When you're with your family, be with your family. Be with your friends, be with your friends. When you're at church, be at church. Don't be present physically, yet far away mentally. Joseph, the son of Jacob from the Old Testament, is a great example for us to follow. After being sold to the Ishmaelites, he was later sold into slavery to an Egyptian official by the name of Potiphar. Well, Potiphar took Joseph and put him to work in his household. Well, he did his work so well in the household that Potiphar made him in charge of his entire household. Well, after some false accusations by Potiphar's wife, Joseph was thrown in prison. Well, he did his work so well in prison that the warden put him in charge of all the other prisoners. Well, as some of you may know from the story, Joseph had the ability to interpret dreams. And he interpreted Pharaoh's dream. And next thing you know, he was second in charge over all of Egypt. Joseph did not wallow in his sorrow over his current situation. Surely, he wanted to be free and back home with his family. But meanwhile, he did his best wherever he was at. He learned to be content. And contentment is essential to experience joy in life. Enjoy your current situation, knowing that this is where God has you. Believe that there's a role that only you can play in your current situation. Maybe there's an individual that only you can touch. Or perhaps there's something you need to learn in your current situation that's going to prepare you for greater things coming down the road. There's a reason you are where you're at, so be great while you're there. And when you are in a less desirable situation, don't pray that God will change your circumstances. Pray that God changes the way you view your circumstances. Be great wherever God has you. So as you advance in your career, it is important to remember, never get too big for the little people that come along your professional path. It was 1990, I was head strength coach at Kansas State, and I just completed a long day of training athletes. It was 6 o'clock, I go in my office, and my phone rings. And I pick it up, and it's this young man by the name of Jim Schmutz. I never met Jim Ford, have no idea who he is, but he introduced himself as a student from my alma mater, Montclair State. He was visiting with one of my former professors, and he expressed that he wanted to be a strength coach, and she suggested he give me a call. So we spoke about the profession about 45 minutes. And then upon the completion of our conversation, I told Jim, I said, Jim, if you have any more questions or want to talk, feel free to call me. So over the next 3 years, Jim called me quite a bit. And I gave him advice about grad school. I gave him advice about possible job opportunities. I listened to him when he vented his frustrations that he was dealing with. And then early 1993, he gives me a call. And he says, Coach, he's so full of excitement. He says, I finally got my break. I just got hired as the assistant strength coach at the University of Pittsburgh. I said, Jim, that's fantastic. I'm so happy for you. Glad things worked out. And then I said, listen, if you ever hear of a head job back east, will you mind letting me know? I'd like to get closer to family. So he said, sure will, Coach. Well, a couple months later, he gives me a call. And he says, Coach, the Boston College job is coming open. The head guy there is going to go into private practice, and it's going to come available. So I faxed the resume into Boston College. About a month later, Coach Kaufman called me, brought me in for an interview, and as they say, the rest is history. I was Tom Kaufman's strength coach for 21 seasons. When you hit the big time, don't forget the little people that come along your professional path. When Jim called me, I was tired. I wanted to go home and see my family. I had every right to blow this kid off. Okay? Hey, I was the head coach, head strength coach of a school in the Big A conference. But I didn't blow him off. I listened to him, I spent some time with him, and I continue to spend some time with him. And what happened? Because I spent a little bit of kindness with him, he told me about Boston College. And as a result, he not only connected me to a Hall of Fame coach, but also a Hall of Fame man. So as you advance in your profession, never get too big for the little people that come along your professional path. Return emails, return texts, return phone calls. Take the time to meet with younger professionals that come along your way when it's appropriate to do so. Don't big time people. You may be busy, but take the time to show some professional courtesy to others. And while you're at it, at the pinnacle of your career, don't forget that you were once young in a profession. And you never know when a little bit of professional courtesy will come back and benefit you. So I left Kansas State in 1993, going to